Have you ever felt the moment a woman realizes something important about you? A moment when her entire energy shifts, but she tries to pretend nothing changed. That moment when the man she thought would always be there suddenly isn't. Something strange happens inside her mind when she realizes she may have lost you. Not lost you to another woman, not lost you because of a fight, but lost you emotionally, lost your attention, lost your presence, lost the version of you that once made her feel secure. And the truth is, when that realization hits her, her behavior changes in ways most men never understand. Before we go deeper, take a second to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps this message reach more men who are trying to understand the psychology behind relationships and human behavior. Now listen carefully. When a woman believes she has you completely, when she feels certain that you're emotionally invested no matter what, a certain level of comfort appears in her behavior. She becomes predictable. She assumes you will always respond, always show up, always chase the conversation when things go quiet. But the moment she senses that certainty disappearing, something shifts. It's subtle at first. Maybe you stopped reacting the same way. Maybe you stopped trying to prove yourself. Maybe you became calm instead of emotional. Maybe you simply started focusing on your own life instead of orbiting around hers. And suddenly, the balance she believed she controlled begins to move. Women are incredibly sensitive to emotional changes, much more than most men realize. They notice tone, attention, energy, silence. They feel when something inside you has withdrawn. When she realizes the version of you she once controlled is no longer there, confusion begins. Because what many men never see is this: attraction often grows stronger in uncertainty. When she knows she has you, her mind relaxes. But when she feels like she might lose you, her mind wakes up. And the woman who once seemed distant, casual, or indifferent can suddenly become very different. Not because she planned it, but because her psychology begins reacting to the possibility that you're no longer hers to keep. And once that realization enters her mind, the behaviors that follow can reveal far more about her feelings than anything she ever said to you. And most men completely miss those signals. The first change is something most men misunderstand completely: silence. Not the cold silence that pushes you away, but the thoughtful silence that appears when she starts thinking about you differently. When a woman believes she has lost you, she begins replaying moments in her mind. Conversations, text messages, the way you looked at her, the times you were patient with her, the times you walked away instead of arguing. Her brain begins searching for answers. And something interesting happens here. The man she once took for granted begins to look different in hindsight. Psychology calls this cognitive reevaluation. When a person begins reassessing someone's value after the dynamic changes, suddenly the things she once ignored become visible. Your stability, your consistency, the way you didn't react emotionally when she expected you to, the way you respected yourself enough to step back instead of chasing her endlessly. These qualities start appearing larger in her memory, and when that happens, curiosity begins replacing certainty. She starts wondering questions she never asked before. Why did he stop trying? Did I misjudge him? Is he moving on? Is there someone else who now sees his value? And the more those thoughts grow, the more her emotional attention quietly returns. But here is the part most men get wrong. When she starts thinking about you again, she rarely announces it. Women often observe before they act. She may check your social media. She may reread old messages. She may casually ask mutual friends how you're doing. She's gathering information. Not because she's desperate, but because she's trying to understand whether the door she thought would always be open is now closing. And uncertainty can be incredibly powerful. When she believed she fully understood you, your presence felt predictable. But the moment you become unpredictable, her curiosity grows. Human psychology is drawn to mystery, especially when that mystery involves someone who once cared deeply. This is why many men become confused when a woman suddenly becomes more attentive after they emotionally detach. It feels unexpected, but from a psychological perspective, it makes perfect sense. Because when a woman senses she might have lost a man who truly valued her, her mind begins asking a question she never had to ask before. Did I just lose something rare? Another behavior shift appears in the way she reaches out. Not dramatically, not desperately, but subtly. When a woman knows she may have lost you, she often tests the emotional distance between you. This doesn't look like a confession of feelings. Instead, it appears in small interactions. A casual message, a reaction to something you posted, a simple question that doesn't really require an answer. On the surface, these moments seem ordinary, but psychologically they serve a deeper purpose. She's measuring your response. She wants to know if the emotional door is still open. Your tone, your timing, your energy, all of it becomes information to her. If you respond exactly the same way you always did, her mind relaxes again. The uncertainty disappears. But if you respond calmly, respectfully, without chasing or over-investing, something interesting happens. Your value in her mind continues rising, because confidence without pressure is rare. Many men, when they feel a woman pulling away, begin trying harder. They over-explain, they over-message, they seek reassurance. But the man who remains centered, who doesn't beg for attention, who continues living his life fully, that man becomes psychologically intriguing. She begins wondering what changed inside you, and that curiosity fuels attraction in ways emotional pressure never could. Another shift appears in how she listens to you. Before, she may have interrupted, brushed things off, or responded casually. Now, she pays closer attention. Because when someone realizes they might lose access to another person's presence, the value of that presence increases. It's similar to how people often appreciate something more when it's no longer guaranteed. Your voice, your humor, your perspective, all of it suddenly carries more weight. And without realizing it, she begins investing emotional attention again. But the most powerful part of this shift is internal. Because once her mind starts reconsidering you, the narrative she told herself about you begins to change. And when a woman rewrites the story she believed about a man, her feelings often follow. One of the most revealing changes appears in her emotional energy. When a woman thinks she has unlimited access to you, she may not feel urgency. But when she believes that access is disappearing, urgency quietly returns. You may notice her becoming warmer during conversations. She laughs more easily. She asks deeper questions. She seems more present when she's around you. This isn't manipulation. It's a natural psychological response to potential loss. Humans are wired to value things more when they feel they might lose them, and relationships are no exception. The interesting part is that she may not even consciously realize why her behavior is shifting. Her mind simply begins adjusting. Instead of assuming your presence, she begins appreciating it. Instead of seeing you as someone predictable, she begins seeing you as someone independent. Independence is incredibly powerful in attraction. When a man shows that his life continues moving forward, with or without someone, it signals emotional strength. And emotional strength changes perception. The man she once viewed as available now appears selective. The man she once assumed would always stay now appears capable of leaving. That possibility alters the entire dynamic. Because attraction often thrives when two people feel they are choosing each other, not simply keeping each other out of habit. And when she senses that your attention is no longer automatic, she becomes more conscious of how she interacts with you. Her compliments may increase, her tone may soften. She might initiate conversations more often. But beneath all of this is a deeper psychological shift. Respect begins growing. And respect is one of the most powerful foundations for genuine attraction. When a woman respects a man's emotional boundaries, his time, his independence, her feelings often become stronger than when she simply had his attention freely. And this is why losing you, or believing she has, can awaken emotions she didn't fully recognize before. Because sometimes clarity only appears when certainty disappears. Another powerful change happens inside her thoughts when she believes she lost you. Comparison begins. Before, when you were consistently present, your value felt stable in her mind. But once your presence becomes uncertain, your absence creates space for reflection. She begins comparing, not always consciously, but naturally. She compares the way you treated her to the way other men behave. She compares your patience to the impatience she sees elsewhere. She compares your consistency to the unpredictability she experiences with others. And slowly, the traits she once overlooked begin standing out. Psychology refers to this as contrast effect. When something is removed or reduced, the mind becomes more aware of its importance. If you were someone who respected her, supported her growth, communicated honestly, and maintained emotional stability, those qualities begin gaining weight in her mind. Because healthy attention feels different from attention driven by ego or control. And when she experiences that difference, the memory of you can grow stronger. Another interesting behavior appears here. She may start bringing up shared memories, moments you experienced together, inside jokes, places you went. These aren't random topics, they're emotional anchors. By revisiting them, she reconnects with the feelings that once existed between you. Because memory is powerful, and emotional memories can revive feelings that seemed quiet. But here is something important many men overlook. This shift doesn't happen because of pressure or persuasion. It happens because of space. When a man stops forcing connection and begins focusing on his own direction, it allows the other person to reflect freely. And reflection can create clarity. Sometimes that clarity leads her to realize she truly values you. Other times it simply helps her understand what the connection meant. But either way, the psychological shift begins the moment she realizes the man she once assumed would stay may actually be walking his own path. And that realization changes everything inside her perception. The final change is the one that reveals the most truth: effort. When a woman believes she might lose you, effort begins appearing where there was once comfort. She invests more attention, she becomes more responsive. She may even try to understand you on a deeper level than before. Because once the mind accepts the possibility of loss, priorities shift. The connection she once assumed would always exist now feels fragile, and fragile things receive care. You might notice her initiating plans, checking in on your life, asking questions she never asked before. These actions are small, but they carry meaning, because effort reflects value. People naturally invest energy into what they believe matters. But the most important lesson here is not about changing her behavior, it's about understanding your own. Many men spend years trying to convince someone of their value, trying to prove themselves worthy of attention, affection, commitment. But true value rarely needs constant proof. It becomes visible through presence, character, and self-respect. When a man builds a life he is proud of, when he respects his own time, when he walks away from situations that no longer align with him, something powerful happens. People begin seeing him differently, not because he demanded it, but because his behavior revealed it. And when a woman realizes she may have lost a man like that, her perception of him often changes forever. Sometimes that realization brings her closer. Sometimes it simply becomes a lesson she carries forward. But either way, the shift in her behavior begins with one simple moment. The moment she realizes the man she thought would always stay has learned how to keep moving forward.